to get back to the point of what I was going on
TikTok is spying on us.
Well, no, I was going to talk about privacy first because we already kind of jumped down the rabbit hole. But
yes,
the idea of privacy is not as valuable to Gen Z because, for example, even the difference between me, you, and AJ. So like you're 31.
31, yeah.
I'm 26 and AJ's 22, right?
I'm 22, yeah. I'm technically in the Gen Z.
Yeah, so you were born in what year?
97.
97. So like 90, I think the cutoff for like between millennial and Gen Z technically is 1996. So if you were 1996 and earlier in time, which would be me, I was in 94, you are technically, but by who, right? Like by who you're a millennial and after is Gen Z. But actually recently, I actually made a TikTok about this because I thought it was interesting, and I figured a lot of other people would relate to this, is that they have coined a micro generation called Zillennials, which is basically the period right in between millennial and Gen Z, where you were, for example, you were alive during 9/11, but you probably don't really remember it or were old enough to know it. Mm-hmm. Like you were probably old enough to kind of understand what was going on.
I was very well aware.
I was in first grade. So like I knew what was happening, but I didn't fully understand it.
Like 5th or 6th probably.
And there's a big difference. It's funny because even though we're only like 5 years apart and you're 4 years apart from me, it's not that different now that we're older, but as a child,
big difference.
Because in that Zillennial group, because I would consider me and AJ Zillennials, I would say you're definitely in the millennial camp.
I'm a millennial, and then like I've got sisters.
You're born in 89, right?
Yeah, I've got sisters that are elder millennials, because millennial goes all the way to 84.
Yeah.
And if you're an elder millennial, then you have basically like, you probably didn't get your first cell phone until you were in probably college.
Yeah.
Probably around
and
college.
I got my first cell phone in like 8th grade, but it wasn't a smartphone.
I didn't get a first smartphone until I was like 21 or 22.
Yeah.
And before that, I was on like flip phone and T9 texting. I'd been on T9 texting and like regular texting since, 2005, 2001, 2002.
Wow, really?
I got cell phone early, man. My mom.
Oh yeah, because you were like homeschooled.
My mom had to find some way to keep tabs on me, and giving me a phone was the only way to keep tabs on me.
And to put that in perspective, you were texting, and AJ was 4. You were born in 97.
Yeah, I was in kindergarten.
Yeah, so I was in like first grade. Like I
remember in 1998 pretty well, and I remember like
it's crazy. But the point that I'm making is you remember a time pre-internet,
97,
probably. Or at least I only remember a time I don't really remember pre-internet, but I very clearly remember a time where internet had not invaded our lives 100%. Like the internet was a thing, but it was very separate from reality. There was a period of time where that was the case. And I feel like, AJ, you probably remember some of that too. Like maybe your home computer had like slow internet and like blah, blah, blah. Like,
dude, yeah, there's a lot of things.
You didn't have like an iPad or anything. Like you when you were born, you would have like that was not really a thing.
I remember like we would have like computer rooms.
Yeah, there was a computer room because you had a family computer. Yeah. It wasn't like a laptop. Like you probably the first time you ever watched like porn or something was something like on your family's computer, like when your mom wasn't home or something. Like that was my experience. Like I was at my friend's house and we were like on his home computer. We had to make sure we deleted the history and stuff.
Buffering for like 49 hours.
To load like one image.
Buffering.
That's funny because mine was already like pretty fast at that point. Like, because I'd been using the internet for a while.
Dial-up is tragic.
But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is the people who are like truly Gen Z were like born with like they knew smartphones from the jump. Like they didn't know anything but the internet as we know it today, whereas we're fully connected to it. And the point that I'm making is we have slowly given up privacy in order to gain this new world. Like, for example, we didn't realize what we were giving up when we gave up our information to Facebook, but now that we can step back and go, oh, whoa, we actually just based on like, we didn't get anything out of that besides just like some enjoyment and some connection. And what they got out of it was so much more valuable. Like, they got all of our information.
Worth billions.
They got, I mean, literally worth billions. Like, they are billionaires. Like, they are they are some of the most massive companies in the world. Because they took advantage of the fact that we were just giving them information. And that was a time when we didn't realize that our personal data was so valuable on an actual monetary level. We just thought like, oh, this is fun. And that's exactly what's happening with TikTok right now.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's what's going to keep happening.
When I worked at Apple, which was between 2011 and like 2014, I remember regularly.
What was like coming out at that time?
iPad like 2, iPhone 4S, stuff like that.
Okay. That was like peak Apple, dude.
Yeah.
That was peak Apple.
It was right when Steve Jobs died. Like,
Yeah.
I remember there was like a memorial vigil outside my store. It kind of blew me away. I'm like, yo, is this company a cult?
Literally.
But people would have like post-it notes and like notes and stories about like how their whole life changed because of like a phone, or the whole life changed because of a computer, or like they have new careers or new connections with families, or like whatever the situation was. But I remember regularly there would be like iPad babysitter moms that would come in and be pushing around strollers, and the kids would be on the iPad. But what blew me away is these kids couldn't even talk yet, but they were already typing and multitasking and watching a movie and playing a game, and like it was just second nature to them. It was just what it was. And
is that bad? Because there's some parents that will go, oh, that's just a shame that kid knows how to do all that before he can even talk to another human. Oh, that's a shame that blah, 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 blah.
I don't know enough about
The only reason why that is a shame,
yeah.
and also like people will be like, oh, that's a shame. Kids these days don't even know how to write in cursive. Kids these days don't even know how to write properly. All they know how to do is type on their iPhones. Yeah, who fucking cares? The only time you're going to need to write anything on a piece of paper is like if you're just like scratch writing something. Like,
I remember
writing is the least valuable it's ever been. So why are we complaining? Like, kids that are able to type, I'd rather a kid be able to type fast and well and then able to write well, because that's going to serve him in life more.
Yeah, I saw this really funny thing. It was like, remember when, the iPads and typing and texting and like, no one uses paper anymore. Can you believe this is crazy?
This is crazy.
It was like, oh man, these iPads are going to take away paper and kids aren't going to be able to write. What a tragedy. And I was laughing because I saw this. It was like a piece of ancient propaganda that was basically like, students writing today on paper is bad. They need chalk and slate. Chalk and slate is the only way for them to write better.
Because you can erase it quickly.
You can quickly erase it and you make corrections. Like, you need chalk and slate. Paper and pen is bad. It is evil.
And it's like the same thing that happened.
Every progression, there's always any type of complainer. So I've been early.
Now that we have iPhones, people aren't communicating in real life. There's pictures of people on the subway all sitting there reading their newspapers.
Yeah.
Like, they're not. But if we weren't on our iPhones, we'd be reading the newspaper. We're not talking to each other. We're doing our own thing.
There's always the old will always criticize the new. Like,
but yes, because they are romanticizing the old, but only for the reason that it's nostalgic to them. It only holds value to you, and that's what's interesting about just the current climate in general. A lot of these people that are like the whole not to get too political, and I don't want to go down on this too much, but basically the idea of like, make America great again. Remember the good old days? It was the good old days, man. And now these fucking immigrants are coming in and fucking it up. I remember when it was just me and my white friends, and now we got all kinds of cultures coming up here and ruining everything. There's a fucking Asian mart on the corner. I can't read that fucking sign. Remember when America was great? I could read everything. I wouldn't see a single black in sight. You know what I mean? Like, literally just racist shit.
I saw a really cool.
But like, that's kind of like the rhetoric that's being displayed from some people that you see.
I saw a really cool Twitter thread that was talking about like how you can manage to narrow down when it was great and what they're trying to get back to, and it was basically in the 40s, 50s, or 60s or something. I don't remember, but if you looked at everything that was happening during that time, they're against all of it except for the segregation, like racism, police stuff. It's like higher taxes for wealth. No. Socialized medicine. No. It's like segregated schools. Yes. It's like,
I don't know if they're 100% for that, but it's just like, yeah. But anyways, the point that I'm making is like, the reason why you value things is because it's like what you're nostalgic for, and things change. That's why people get mad when like neighborhoods get gentrified. It's like because they remember how it was like living there. They were like, we got pushed out of the city, so we're in this area. And now all these people are moving back in this area. Now we're getting kicked out of our homes, you know? But it's like, I mean, the world works on supply and demand. We live in a capitalist society, so that's just like kind of the way the cookie crumbles, the way the world works. Everything is subject to change. You can't rely on anything to ever stay the same. But anyways, I guess the whole point of me bringing up all that is the fact that kids of today do not value privacy the same way that adults and boomers and however you want to categorize it, millennials even, would value their privacy. Because like I was posing the proposition to you, the only reason why privacy is valuable is because if something gets leaked, that means that my thing is no longer private, but you still retain your privacy.
It's
right?
like a one-way street almost.
If everyone's shit was out there, if I could just Google Andrew Clark penis and I could see your naked body online, that would be really embarrassing for you. Because if everyone could just easily find that.
It wouldn't be embarrassing because I put up there for a reason.
Well, what if someone like hacked your iCloud or whatever and they saw like naked pictures of you or whatever? And I mean, I've searched that. I couldn't find anything. So obviously that's not real. But
there is someone who would regret that.
Who?
Mia Khalifa.
Yes, we will talk about her in a minute. It does flow into this conversation. But the idea that someone can look up something about you, but that thing is not public knowledge for you. Like, for example, like I said, if I could find naked pictures of AJ, but I couldn't find naked pictures of me, I'm like, haha, I can see AJ's, naked body. But if everyone on Earth, there was like pictures of them naked everywhere.
If everyone was doxxed,
if
basically.
everyone was doxxed and you could just find, if literally there was no privacy, there would be no, like,
But I don't want to be doxxed to another malicious country. Like, I'll be doxxed to my neighbor, I'll be doxxed to my government, but I ain't cool with, I don't know why, honestly, but it feels like a threat to national security. Like, it just
no.
And
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not justifying why it's a good thing. I'm just saying that kids of today are like more comfortable with the idea that like, of course Google knows everything about me. Like, yeah, I use their services. Like, I get the benefit of using all their services for free.
They understand
like,
that.
I get that. Like, I am the product that's being bought and sold.
Yeah,
like,
if you're using a service that's free, you are the product.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. If you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right over here.